Hello, I'm Charles from Essex Wildlife Trust. I'm a trustee, which means I help to administer the really difficult decisions that have to be taken. And today I want to talk about this pear, which I'm hoping to have for my breakfast later. There's a pear tree actually behind me here. The pear, in order to grow, like many of our fruit and beans and things like that, needs probably an insect to pollinate its flowers. Now, we've got domesticated honeybees. They will do it, but actually bumblebees and a lot of the wild bees are a lot more efficient at doing it and don't need people to look after them. They get on with it themselves. So that means we're kind of reliant on the ecosystem around us to actually provide us with food. So yes, we need bees, we need bumblebees. But what do the bees need? Well, many of the very efficient bumblebee pollinators actually need mouse holes. They need mice and voles. And they particularly need mice and vole holes so that they can build their nests and grow their colonies. Some of them will have up to 200 or 300 in a colony when they produce, the queen goes in and produces the new generation. But she would very much like a mouse hole with lots of moss in it. So the bees need moss, they need mice. What do the mice need? Well, the mice need lots of moss, obviously, to keep them warm during the winter. They also need lots of seeds and fruit so they can survive, and grasses and leaves that they can eat. They also need the owls that keep their populations under control to prevent epidemics and population explosions. So ecology is a kind of web that goes outward. So to get this pear, I probably need hundreds, if not thousands, of species to cooperate together and work together to produce that pear. For those fruit and seeds like grain and corn and wheat and barley that don't need pollinators, they still need the ecology in the soil to be able to produce the tree or the bush in the first place. Even things like coffee need an effective living soil. A single tablespoonful of soil can contain 7 billion bacteria. So that means we need our ecosystem. We need all the living things around us in order to live. And rather like an old-fashioned clock with all the cogs going round in the back, if we take one of those out, it doesn't work as well. Now, natural ecosystems have a way of re-establishing themselves if one of the species is taken out, but they're never going to work the same way. They're going to be different. And sometimes when you take one species out, others fall out at the same time and become locally extinct. The same thing happens when you get invasive species coming in. Sometimes they will replace another species. They might do a similar job, but they're not the original species. They're not as well adapted to the environment as was the original species. Here in Essex, originally we had red squirrels. Now we've got the American greys. There's little we can do about that at the moment because the greys carry a virus that kills reds. Some wildlife trusts around the country, including Essex Wildlife Trust, are now gradually experimenting with it, reintroducing beavers. They are wonderfully effective at trying to improve the environment for other species. So on the River Otter down in Devon, where they've had beavers now for some years, the huge numbers of new insects have moved into the areas that the beavers have terraformed for them. So we need other species. If we want to eat, we can't let wildlife become extinct. We need it to survive. And that means that if you want to survive long term and you want your family and your descendants to survive, you will need to think about trying to maintain the ecosystem. And that means trying to contribute in some way to a conservation organisation. Now, our local one is Essex Wildlife Trust, and you can register and join on the website, which is very easy. but other conservation organisations are available if you live elsewhere in the world.